All right, we'll call this work session meeting to order. Could we please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm gonna start with number 2. I'm kind of waiting for Dave. Maybe he wants to talk a little bit about his plow truck, so let's put that one aside. And we'll start with the tentative budget amendments. Has everyone been able to go over those?
Yep.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yes.
My first.
That's okay. We'll put that on hold and go back to the plow truck. Hang. We're just waiting for you on the plow truck, Dave.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. Back to number 1 then. Sure you want to discuss that.
Yes. I would like the town board to authorize us to order a new plow truck for 2023. There's a shortage in trucks right now. I know that we don't even know our budget for that time, but if we can at least get the order on, we can get it moving along. There's no risk to the town. We can cancel even up to a year from now. So, and even with this order, it looks like it's becoming even more and more unlikely we'll even get it at that time that this order says. I don't know if you all are hearing about shortages. So this is just to keep us on our rotation that we discussed many years ago, where we're rotating our plows every 3 years. So for us to stay on that track, we need to get an order in.
And that's the year that you would have wanted it, right?
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
pushing it out.
No, it's going to work out perfect. It's nothing's fancy about it. It's just identical to the last truck. Just went up in price quite a bit. So last 2 years ago, they were 221,000 and now they're up to 247. Just everything.
And that price is locked in.
That is locked in,
So
but
that's
if you
not a
do,
bad thing.
yeah, that's a good thing. But Jolene, if you do see, it looks like Kenworth left it out that if by chance they don't get to build it in 2022, they reserve the right to have a price increase if it did get pushed to 2023. But we would know that in the budget season next year, so it wouldn't really impact us. Their goal is to try to get a build date of in August, but that doesn't mean we get the plow truck, because even after the build date, a couple of weeks, it goes to the plow company, which takes like 3 months from there. So best case scenario, we're hoping to get it by Thanksgiving of next year so that we're ready to go, but it's probably not going to happen. But either way, we need to get in the order. Yeah, the queue.
Yeah.
So we've done this before. I did even reach out to other truck companies just to try to price shop, and this actually turned out was the cheapest out of Western Star, Mack, and Peterbilt. So it's on the Sourcewell contract, which we are a member of, so it's totally legal.
Okay.
Dave, does it make any sense to, have you ever tried and it didn't work out, reusing the plow? Does that make any sense at all, or not really? I mean, the
Yeah,
plow, it seems to me like that's a big hunk of steel.
Yeah, the plows that we have now since 2009 are all hydraulic. The old plows are cable operated, so it's a total different system. Some towns do that. I anticipate in the near future, when we finally rotate into the newer stuff since then, we will, because we are buying all stainless plows now. So it will eventually get to that. But because of that type, it's a totally different configuration.
Sure.
Okay.
And I understand the salter in the body, because
Right.
the salt just takes it.
But even that, Chuck, we're going to stainless too. So eventually, hopefully we can start reusing this stuff too.
Okay.
The old trucks, the 2009s have chain salters. We now go with hydraulic screw salters. So everything is headed in that direction.
That'd be great.
So
That's
yeah, I
awesome.
would say, you in 6, maybe a couple plows from now, we'll finally get into that rotation where you should be able to do that. So
That'd be
I'm glad you
wonderful.
asked that, because it's something that down the road we're hoping to do.
And then we'll just auction the old truck.
Yes, yeah. Kenworth did throw out a trade. They believe that they'll be willing to trade for at least 20,000 for one of those. I know that's a good deal. So hopefully next summer when we do our budget, we'll at least get a trade offer and then we can take some price off of this too. Okay, but again,
What year truck are we trading?
2009. Those are the three that were bought at one time. This will be our second one down and we'll have just one more left and then we'll be on that rotation in 3 years. We're every 3 years. So
Is there a shortage of bodies too, or is it just the chassis?
yes, yeah. That's why we needed to lock in Henderson on this too. They are able to commit to us now. So it's the same thing. If you don't get on the queue, you won't get one. Everything's a shortage right now. Hopefully it ends by then, but either way, we'll be protected. And speaking of that, when we bought the Cat this year, we saved $6,000 by pre-ordering. Turned out with the shortage and the delays, we're not going to get it till the first anyway. So that's why it is good that we do these pre-orders because at least it covers us. Any town that's waiting till the last minute right now, they're going to have problems. There's no question. And if you're a town that is running junk equipment, you're going to probably have real problems. So I'm glad that we don't do that. So very confident if we keep doing what we're doing, we'll always be in good shape.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, so it's a contingent approval, contingent on passing of the 2023 budget. Okay, thanks.
All right, we'll go back to the preliminary budget and the changes from the tentative budget. As follows as per the 9/29/2021 budget meeting, the change was a 2% increase and was added to the stipends that previously did not receive annual increases, including web administrator, budget officer, HR stipend, and grant stipend. These were all fund appropriations. And an increase to the programs for aging director to $49,982 from the $49,504. Other changes were an increase in the court clerk to $36,068 from $35,360, and that was to accurately record the 2% increase for the new town clerk hire at $17 per hour. And added to the assessor's office, the RPTL in the amount of $8,231.40 to summary pages and a fund revenue page. We're still under the tax cap by $76,518. Everyone good with that? Okay, then we will add that to the agenda. There. And health insurance broker. Kathleen and I met with insurance broker services of various entities. We met with Banner, Hartloff, and Benicare, which is our current broker, and spoke to a Sheridan Benefits over the phone. It was not a in person. After the meetings, we recommend that we go with Hartloff Benefit Solutions. One of the reasons is that they offer the HR program to the town for no cost. Right now, we're paying $6,000 for that same a year for that same program. So we felt comfortable with going with this company. They were very highly recommended by the village and other towns that are using them right now. So we're not changing our healthcare. We're just changing our broker. So everything else remained the same. Everyone good with that? Yeah. Okay. So that will be on our agenda. At this time, we have a few minutes. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up to the board? It's for the work session.
Yeah, I know we have it on the agenda later, but we're talking about the agreement for the Board of Elections. I know that the election inspectors have some, when it rains, it pours, but there's a lot of downtime as well. And we have not given them the Wi-Fi code for when they're in the building. And I just wanted to bring it up if we have to do anything to provide the Wi-Fi code to them while they're here working in that capacity. I don't think that's for an official purpose. Just they're going to be here every day from 7 in the morning until 8 at night. And so if we can give access, I think it's a good idea.
The last time we talked about this, we asked our IT man, Nick, and he said we should have a policy with that. And I don't know if we ever developed one. But I will ask Kathleen tomorrow where we're at with that, and if that's something we can do or want to do, or if there's any.
What do we have? Do we have a guest and then an employee? We do have the guest.
Yeah,
What is the password?
we have a guest one, but we haven't given out the password. So, yeah. And there's probably a sign in, like you usually have, like you sign in with your information and then you know who's using it. And we should have in our policy to change the password every once in a while. But I just know that when they're here all day, and it would be nice of us to give that password for them.
Yeah. I will discuss that with Nick again. And see where, I don't know what the reason for not doing it.
Yeah, I think there's some security stuff. I'm sure, like we don't want to have people drawing down on the public Wi-Fi network, but as long as we are changing the password and we, are limiting to whom we give it to, I don't think there's any real risk.
No, it's separate.
Yeah.
Is that a note you can make? Yeah. All right.
Thanks.
We'll look at it, and if it's something we can get done for this election.
And when I come to vote, I'll be the most popular guy there.
I'm sure that's why you're doing it.
Anybody else have anything they want to bring up before we start? Nothing?
No.
All right, well, we can't start the public meeting hearings till 7 o'clock, so let's go right down to the approval of the minutes, the September 27th, 2021 work session and meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Motion by Sue. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have audience. And this is an opportunity for anybody in the audience to address the board on any items that are on the agenda. If you do wish to do so, please come up to the mic and give us your name and address.
Not necessarily on the public hearings, though, on other items, because during the public.
Right.
At 7 o'clock, we'll start the public hearings, and you'll want to be on record for the subject that you're on.
You can grab it.
Robert Aronica. Just wanted to address the last meeting when you were talking about the budget and the concern of the good attorney talking about everybody and their brother potentially gives the town exposure for lawsuits. If there was a line item included in the budget that there was a line item, I'm asking if there was a line item added into the budget as to protecting the town from any additional research that may be needed, like that ODA that was done on Maple Road, if there was litigation, that you would have maybe to retain your own engineers to counter the potential litigation that may occur, just as a what if, as a consideration, rather than just opening it up for 365 days of anybody and their brother suing you and not having any money in the line item.
You can just leave it on the table. Thanks. Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? On anything but the public hearings? Okay, we'll move on.
Oh, wait.
Oh. Look down for a second. I'm sorry, can we have your, take the mic and just give us your name and address, please?
Hello, I'm Ed Fisher, and this is my wife Pam. We own a lot in the town of Aurora on Boys Road. It's a flag lot. And it was originally part of our land when we bought the house in 1984. And we sold the house in 2009. We broke the property off and kept part of the lot. And we went by what the town told us at the time, the minimum requirements. And one of them was a 15-foot frontage. So right now we have the lot up for sale. And there's a moratorium on flag lots building in the town right now, as you probably know. And we're trying to either get you not to extend this law or rule you're doing now, or moratorium. And we're hoping either we get a special exception to our rule because of hardship with selling the property. This was property was going to be for us selling it and retiring, and we're using it for part of our retirement money. And they're saying it's not buildable now, right now, but we've already have offers on the property and they're just on hold right now.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Since there was specificity addressed at this meeting regarding flag lots, I have in the past addressed you as to the flag lot and its implication for adjacent properties and the concern of many things that when flag lots are there, that it adversely affects the properties. I think in the case of this gentleman and the fine lady behind us, there was concerns that I addressed as a potential encroachment on narrow access. That encroachment has occurred on that because of the narrowness. I think in the flag lots, there's also concern, depending upon the zoning requirements of septic system runoff, even though it's under the county's aegis. I think that concern should be for that. I also am concerned about runoff. I am also concerned about piping that goes in a narrow agway access, and what kind of protection adjacent property owners do have for the encroachment that did occur in not on our property, but in adjacent property. And it was advised to building inspectors, et cetera. And lastly, I think that it's a problem that usage comes into play, not just on this, but on futures. And I think that that should be addressed. We are at risk as a property owner. I have reached out to these people over the years. They have said that the property was sold 3 times. And in fact, that never happened, but it was just messaging that even to this time, quite honestly, I don't think you can put with much credibility. With that, that's what it is.
You can just lay it on the table or the chair, whatever. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Nobody? Okay, then we'll continue on to unfinished business. And the ODA moratorium extension.
No, we can't do that yet.
What's that?
We can't do it yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You have to go to C.
Yeah. Sorry about that. What's that?
Right.
Okay, 6C. So we have the plow truck purchase for the highway department. It was discussed in the work session. It's would be a new 2023 Kenworth. The total amount of the truck is $127,398, and then the body is $126,614. That's the cab and chassis. Oh, and the plow, okay, sorry. So the total was $248,012. Dave wants to get this ordered now because we're looking at about an 18-month turnaround on trucks right now. So this wouldn't affect our 2022 budget. It would affect our 2023. But if we don't get in line now, we don't know when we're going to be able to order one. So what we need is a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign this agreement with Kenworth Northeast in the amount of $248,012.
I think the price dropped 1,000. I sent it to Martha.
247.12.
Yeah, it was a change. I updated this morning.
So it went down 1,000, Dave?
Yeah.
47.
Right.
Well, in that case,
Just for the record. It's,
I was on the line, on the bubble, but no.
I'll motion to approve the ordering of the Kenworth truck for $247,12,012, contingent upon it being accepted in the 2023 budget.
All right, motion by Sue. Do I have a second?
second,
Second by Luke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Can we do the budget? Yes, we can, right? So we'll go to, still got 5 minutes, so we'll go to the budget. That's 6D. We need, we went over the changes in the budget. If everyone's okay with that, we need to accept that. So I need a motion to accept the changes to the tentative budget.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jolene. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we need to approve the tentative budget. So I would need a motion to approve the 2022 tentative budget.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Sue. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. And then number 3 on the budget is setting the public hearing for the preliminary budget, which would be at our next meeting, which is October 25th, I believe. Correct, Martha? Right. So I would need a motion to set the public hearing on the preliminary budget for October 25th at 7 PM.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. And health insurance broker. Again, we're just changing brokers, not service. And that reason for that is that our HR that we are paying $6,000 a year now would be included with their proposal and would be at no cost to the town. So I would need a motion to go with our new broker Hartloff benefits for 2022 year. I have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Sue. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have polling place agreement, and this is for early voting. And this is an agreement with Erie County in the amount of $900 for the use of our buildings for the early voting. Do I have a motion to authorize the supervisor sign the early voting agreement with Erie County?
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. One more in here. 6G is surplus of inventory. Please surplus the following item. It's a steel chainsaw. No longer working. And the parts are too expensive, so request from Dave Gunner's office to surplus it. Do I have a motion to surplus?
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Second.
Second.
By Sue. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that is carried.
There's one more in there.
One more. We'll do H.
We could probably go through this new business, couldn't we? Maybe.
All right, this is a request from Kathleen Moffett, my assistant. It's use of debt reserve funds. She requests that we approve the use of debt reserve funds to make the $2,885 interest payment to Greene County Commercial Bank for the Glebe Avenue parking lot bond. The payment is due October 15th, 2021.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jolene,
Second.
second by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. It is 7 o'clock. We can go back to our public hearings. Our first public hearing tonight is for the Community Development Block Grant Funds. And we have, I'll open up this public hearing at 7:01 and ask that anyone from the audience who would like to speak on the Community Development Block Funds, please come up, give us your name and address and state your opinion. Of course, Donna.
Don't pay attention to my voice. I cheered too loud for the Bills till 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so the first thing was and I see you have it up there for the exterior door replacement. I did get an estimate. It was $72,852. And that would be replacing all the exterior doors in the center and the adult daycare. Two of the doors that are not handicap at this time would be replaced as handicap doors. So it'd have buttons on the daycare, our back door by the library, and of course the replacement on the front door. And that the kitchen door would be replaced, which would be a great thing. We've been having trouble with that door, so that would be a good thing. The other thing was for the lighting. Chuck, did you get any quotes on that?
I don't have that yet.
Okay,
Spoke to Scott this morning and
okay,
he was going to try to get it over today. The same with the
okay.
plumbing fixtures too.
For those,
I don't have it yet.
and I did give Martha those for that other grant. So those were all in place for that. It was more than what I thought, but so this is what our proposal from the senior
What's that
center.
amount again? 72?
It was $72,852. And I think the grant is it 90,000 still? Yeah. So we'll have to see how much the light fixtures would be, or, so, yeah, hopefully we can get with under that. So
Thanks, Donna.
thank you.
Anybody else? I'll just read off what the town has put in order. And number one was the improvements to the Aurora Senior Center, the exterior door replacement and the fluorescent LED lights. And also the number two, we have to rate them in order, would be the continuation of the rural transit services program. Does anybody else have any input whatsoever? Okay, if not, we'll close the public hearing at 7:03. And vote on that in our next meeting. Next, we have the local law moratorium on ODAs, and that would be for an extension. We are pretty close, but we're running out of time on the changes that we're making to the code. So we're asking for another 3 months. I don't know if you have any input, Chuck, or anybody on what we're discussing, or
No, I mean, as you say, Supervisor Bach, that we are close. We really are. We don't feel that we're going to need the full 3 months, but I guess that's all I have to say about it.
okay. Anybody else want to comment on it, or? Okay. We'll open the public hearing at 7:04. If anyone would like to comment on the extension for the moratorium of ODAs, please come up and state your name and address.
And just to say, anyone online can use the raise your hand function or type in the chat.
Okay, we're just wondering if we're gonna get any exception, maybe, or we have special case here. We do have offers in from other people, and you can check with the Realtor Hunt. It's listed the property. And
The problem is that the land isn't buildable right now. And because of the moratorium, we would need variances also. But we were advised by our lawyer not to apply for them until the moratorium was lifted. So it's a hardship for us because we have to keep waiting to get this done.
And we've already, done the approach. The county's put that in, got everything ready as much as we could, and the land cleared out somewhat. So we have spent quite a bit of money getting it ready, the lot.
Did you make application for an ODA or you're just getting it ready?
All we did was send a letter in to
We sent it to
Super-
supervisor. We were advised to do that.
Just recently?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Right. I was just wondering if they made an application before this. No.
we originally didn't even know about the moratorium, and the realtor didn't know either. And she came back later on and said, you know what? There's people that want to buy your property, but there's a moratorium on right now.
We don't live in Aurora anymore, so we didn't keep up with that. We didn't know what was going on with the land.
That will be taken in consideration. Oh, we just need your address. I'm sorry.
The address of the land?
The land or where we're living now.
Where you're living now.
It's 1313 McKinley Parkway, Lackawanna.
You don't need the address of the property, do you? Okay.
I have the address. We even got that 1860 Boys Road.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Robert Aronica, Jane Aronica, 1848 Boys Road. I hate to put this into public situations, but just as we just heard about financial difficulties, I think that this particular parcel would have an adverse effect on our property and the adjacent. I think on the zoning that comes through, I think we do have to have a 3-month extension on the particular parcel because there's so many unanswered questions. There's unanswered questions about when you have access on a limited parcel, what exactly is being done. I think, and I've said this before, that there should be a notification of application to the town for any permit that goes through to advise people in the neighborhood or passersby what exactly is happening with that parcel. I think also that any excavation that occurs on that particular parcel or any flag lot should be marked by a survey and remain stakes so that you don't pull the stakes out and just go hilly-nilly over whatever you're going to do. Like in this case, there was access to other property from their plowing. I think that there should be consideration as to what is the parcel's intent today and in the future, perhaps entertaining conveyance to an adjacent property rather than for commercial use or that. When you open these things up with patchwork, I think you're exposing adjacent properties to unknown situations. In this case here, you're dealing with 11 and a half years of untouched property, and then things happen. People move in, and then you could change. I think that being close to a property line in the back, I think there should be consideration of extending that. Maybe it's 200 feet, maybe it's 300 feet from the back end of the property. I have considerations on these parcels that there should be minimum width on flag lots so that any pipes that occur, anything are part of it. I think also when you're having snow plowing and that it could go on either side of the property. I think that flag lots in there really, except for agricultural use, have limited intent in this town for progress that has a good fit for the planning that we hope to do in the future. And we cannot cut these parcels down. My takeaway, put the posts in for surveys, advise on this, eliminate minimum flag lots that are just that, and notify homeowners or whatever within, maybe it's 500 feet, a quarter mile, something's up with a petition for a variance or anything else. And if there is encroachment, there should be penalties, not police by me calling the police, but town zoning that goes through, because I've already incurred some costs on surveying to protect my property line, our property line. And I think that that's a problem for flag lots all over, is that right from the get-go, let people know what you're doing and keep an eye on it and subject to fines. Thank you.
Thank you. You can put it down as team notes. Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Nobody? Okay. We'll close this public hearing at 7:12. Okay, our last public hearing is on the local law cannabis opt-out. And we'll start this. Start this public hearing at 7:13. 7:13. And we'd ask that if you have, would you like to speak to the board on this? Please come up, state your name, and we would ask you to keep it to a 3-minute limit on any of your comments.
And your address, please.
Yep. Thank you. Anybody?
Hello, I'm Catherine Vijay. I sent in an email regarding this matter already. I'm here to state that I believe that the town at this time should not opt out of a cannabis dispensary within the town of Aurora. The last board meeting, multiple board members made comments dismissing the opinions on cannabis as they had received from the village residents. I want to bring to your attention, as village residents, we pay taxes to the town and we are able to vote for your positions. Please do not dismiss the residents within the village as you represent us all. 331 North Street.
Thank you. Anybody else?
My name is Susan Gottesman. I live at 186 Glenridge, and I would just like to say that I would also like to opt in. I agree with Grace.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sue Galbraith, 267 Oakwood Avenue. I have also written to the board and to the village board that I believe that we should opt in. I've done a lot of traveling. I've been to Maine and Massachusetts and some of the other states where it is legal now. I found many of these little towns in Maine who are really needing money. They are flourishing. They're now destinations. People come, they have lunch, they go shopping, they shop at the dispensary. There are a lot of dispensaries around, and I think that it is a good idea for revenue for the village as well. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Robert Aronica, 1848. This town is not for sale. We do not put our town for money for drugs.
Mr. Aronica, you're addressing the board, please.
I'm 71 years old, seen a lot of the stuff in the adverse respects I don't need to address here on different kinds of narcotics. I have also seen driving under the influence, not of alcohol, but of marijuana, the drive that you have. One of the risks that we have in this town is people that are maybe under the influence and then driving automobiles. How do you feel about smoking? We've gotten through that. It should have the same regulations. But to hear, oh, this is going to bring in a lot of more money, I think that is the reason why we shouldn't. And Cain kills Abel. Does that make murder right? I'm not saying that this is murder by any stretch, but I think it's a flawed, logical information. We have to do what's right for our town and not be put up that our town is for sale. We should do it for other reasons, other considerations. And that is why I applaud the town for considering opting out of marijuana sales. At the same time, I have said this, I think that medical marijuana is a different story, and that in itself is a whole different consideration. But to have a blanket situation to allow things to happen, no cigar, opt out. Thank you.
Just anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Carlos Santos. I live at 182 Oakwood Avenue. I am for the opt-in of, any sort of retail cannabis dispensaries, beyond what we said previously about money that's brought into the town. I think that I was not at the last meeting, but from the articles I've read, I see the concerns, the fact that people could be driving while they've ingested marijuana, things like that. Not having a retail dispensary will not change that. If that is a concern, it's going to make it worse. People will have to go to the city, to the north towns to get their marijuana. People will get it. It's not a will they, won't they? Studies have shown no matter what, once retail dispensaries are there, usage rises. It's going to happen. And if we decide to not have a retail dispensary locally, the illicit market here will rise up. People will be buying from people that are not getting their stuff tested. In New York, the New York law is being lauded as one of the most forward-thinking bills in the country. And everything will be from seed to sale is going to be registered and protected. You will not have that here. It will be an illicit market. People are concerned about, gummies, things like that. The law specifically states that there cannot be gummies, things like that are designed for children, that would interest children. You will have that with an illicit market. It's a fact. And the surrounding towns like Marilla, Elma, West Seneca are all looking like they're going to be opting out. Orchard Park might be opting in, Hamburg too. People will go to Hamburg. People will go to Orchard Park. The dispensaries right now in the city, Williamsville, Amherst, they'll go there. The regulations on medical marijuana were just loosened last Tuesday. Any doctor who can prescribe a controlled substance can now prescribe marijuana. It will be more prevalent. People will be using it. If you limit where they can pick it up, the concerns about driving while possibly intoxicated on marijuana will be worse. If they can go into town closer, the town benefits, money in the town's pocket that can be used for something good instead of letting other towns around us get that revenue. It makes no sense. And the wait and see approach where see what happens, that completely eliminates the benefit of getting a foothold in a emerging multi-billion-dollar market, because New York is a multi-billion-dollar market by all projections. And then once we decide, hey, this is working in other towns, let's do it, they may not have licenses available. It's going to be a limited number of licenses, and we could be screwing the town out of money for years. So I feel very strongly about this, and yeah, so thank you for your time.
Thank you. You can put it right in the chair. It might be good. Anybody else? Nobody? Okay, we'll close the public hearing at 7:21. Well, we'll go on to 5A, which is the ODA moratorium extension. And as we discussed before, we need some extra time to look at everything, discuss everything that we've heard tonight, not only that, and the items that we're looking at changing it. I don't believe, as Councilman Snyder said, that we're gonna need an additional 3 months, but we're gonna ask for the 3 months, and if we get it done sooner, then we can enact the law. So, yeah, is there any further discussion? I see you're grabbing the mic, Luke.
As the term, I wasn't going to, I just say that, that this is a moratorium that is temporary. So to the people who have come in and spoke about your situation, it is a temporary, but I would like to say that we are making this decision considering the benefits of the town as a whole. And we are putting the moratorium in to make sure that anything moving forward will conform to those benefits as the board decides. So I believe that we should move forward with the moratorium, and so that we can move forward only on our new rules that we've put together with input from the planning board and the community.
Anyone else before we vote on?
I was just gonna say, to answer their request was really, can we make an exception for them or grant them an exception at this time? And unfortunately, we, cannot. It just doesn't work that way. And especially, the process would be, once the code is in place and the new restrictions, the guidelines are put in place, then, evaluate your parcel accordingly and determine what, variances would be needed and put in a formal application. And, that would be the process. Unfortunately, your timing was difficult.
Anything, Sue? Good.
No, I will say that we'll do our best to be as expedient as possible. Yeah, we understand that people are out there waiting.
Other than, I guess, just to reiterate, is we are close. We are close. It'll happen shortly.
We did meet with members of the planning board, and further discussions will be happening, and it seemed very positive to movement. So
yes,
definitely won't take 3 months, but we're running, I think it's up pretty soon, the original moratorium. So we'll ask for the 3 months tonight, but hopefully won't take anywhere near that. So the motion to adopt the local law to extend the ODA moratorium for 3 months. I believe that would start immediately. Which would start immediately. I need a motion first.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jolene. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. And this is a roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Next, we'll go to the CDBG grant funds. And The two that were listed were the improvements to the Aurora Senior Center, the exterior door replacements, fluorescent light conversions, and a continuation of the rural transit service program. Do I have a motion to submit and execute contracts with Erie County Development Block Grant Program for the following projects?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jolene. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have the local law cannabis opt-out. We've heard the public hearing. Do we want to make a motion and then discuss, or do you want to discuss first?
What do you think?
I actually would prefer not to vote tonight. Spent a couple of hours doing a little bit more research. Wasn't able to get home and get my notes because even between work and here. The deadline is,
Well, we have to leave enough for let me see, referendum.
right, 45 days, which is correct.
45 days to.
Right.
Mr. Referendum.
Would that leave us enough? That would still leave us enough.
Oh, let's, I mean.
I think we
I'd like
should
to
debate it.
discuss it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, or, yeah.
I'd like to hear what everybody's thinking.
I think my reasoning for opting out at this time was never forever, but I don't believe we're in a position right now to opt in. We don't even have it in our zoning code where we would put a dispensary or a in smoke shop. I think those anti-smoking code, we haven't done the smoking code yet, so all those items, in my opinion, should be done before we opt in. And by doing so, we could opt in January 1st, January 2nd, but if we don't have everything in place, to me, it's putting the cart before the horse.
I'll just add on to that a little bit. The state put out the December 31st date for us to, decide whether we wanted to opt in and opt out. And I believe their intent was to get us more information before this time, and we don't have it. What's happened is everything got stalled out. The last two people assigned to the regulatory committee to regulate the industry came in 3 weeks ago. So towns and villages are being placed in position to vote on something where we don't know what the rules are. And I don't think any attorney would tell you to sign any document if you didn't know what the rules were going to be. So I'm with the Jim for we can opt out now, and it could be December if we get the information that we need. We do have a moratorium right now on our B and our Is, right? Still
Yes.
going till, I'm not sure when that ends, but inclusive in that task, we can also be looking at where those dispensaries would go in B and I. We don't have a whole lot of them. There's some along 16 Ellicott Road. I think there's one off of Seneca Street, but in the town, there's very limited places where it would be able to go, at least under today's zoning of Bs and Is. But we need to really take a ride and look at every single parcel and decide if those Bs and Is are in the right neighborhood for where a dispensary would go. It shouldn't take a lot of time. With the committee that the state's got going now, I assume they're gonna get us more information faster. They're gonna make some decisions. We've got our zoning on moratorium, so we can continue discussing where they're gonna go. So I appreciate everybody's desire to opt in. I feel that this board is in a tough position because we're being asked to opt in without all the information we need to do it. And so for that, I would say we shouldn't take a year to do it, but by January or December, January, we should be able to know where we would put it in our zoning, and hopefully we'll get the more information on the regulation and enforcement of it.
And if I could just tag on to that, Councilwoman Freeze, a few months ago, Kathleen Moffett and myself attended a webinar on the cannabis and how the state is going to handle this. And part of this, it brought up that there are multiple adult use licenses, including the cultivator, the processor, the distributor, the retail dispensary, which is something that the town is control of, but delivery, the nursery, and on-site consumption, which is the other one that the town is in control of, and more. Doesn't even specify what the more is. And when you dig into it a little bit, this is going to be managed by the Cannabis Control Board, which is a part of the Office of Cannabis Management, which is part of the State Equity Office, and the Advisory Board, with representatives from Ag and Markets, the DEC, the Department of Labor, the Department of Health, and so on. This is not going to be a 5-minute decision on these things. And as Councilwoman Freeze says, for us to decide on this, I don't think it would be the right thing to do at all. And I'm saying this, I have little doubt anyway, that at some point in time, the town will opt in. I have no doubts. I just don't think that right now is the right time for it.
My position has not changed. Opting out is a decision. And we're making that decision based on the information we have, based on the information we've seen, based on the studies we've seen from other states and in Canada. The concerns that we have, higher crime, lower house cost prices for houses, those all have not occurred. So for me, it is a question of what we want to do for the town. We received 15 to 20 letters on this topic. Not quite sure what the count is. We've had some speakers here tonight, and those have been overwhelmingly against opting out. I don't see a reason for it. I think the zoning we can put into place. So we have a moratorium right now. We have a lot of other decisions to make before the moratorium is over. I agree with the speaker that opting out may be opting out for forever, because I think that there is, because of the licensing process and what it takes, and that investors are going to want to get in on this right from the beginning so that they can have this completed as quickly as possible to get a return on their investment, which is somewhere around $500,000 to get the licenses. So again, my position is that it is the right choice for the town to not opt out, because there really are not many concerns, and the funds that come in, no matter how small, could be used to combat the effects of the increased use of cannabis in the town. So
I'm going to ask a question. So the regulations and how it's going to be regulated isn't set. So we don't know what we're opting into.
related to a dispensary or related to the use of cannabis in general?
They can do this, they can say whatever they want. They only told us that once you're in, you can't get out. And to me, that sounds like, you know what, here's a contract, I'm gonna loan you some money for 3%. Don't worry about the fine print, but just sign it. And then you sign it and all of a sudden the fine print comes and you're like, well I didn't think you were gonna do that.
I mean, in all fairness, the state could change its position on alcohol stores or any other thing if it wanted to, and it made a law. So we're making a decision based on the information that we have. And in my opinion, I don't know what regulation has or has not come out. I'd be willing to hear about that. That would change. That would change my opinion on it.
I've never seen an actual detailed almost manual of just what the rules and regulations and limitations and what it takes to get the licenses. We haven't even seen that, Luke. I just don't know where we are. We have never gotten an update from this webinar, which is 3 months ago.
Well, I'm not sure what we're looking. I mean, this is a store that's going to be selling cannabis based on the state rules that will apply if we do it here or we don't do it here, right? This is a question about the town of Aurora. We control our zoning. So we have some level of control. If the state wants to do something that is contrary to our ability to zone, I think that would be a pretty big issue, but I think then they could also just force everybody to opt in anyways, right? The state just gives us the power that we have. They've given us the power to opt out or to not opt out, and that's the decision here. I don't know what regulations we would need. Is it signage? Is it the amount that can be sold, or what would it be that we are concerned about here?
I think we don't know what we don't know because we don't have any of that. I mean, they only seated their board 3 weeks ago. So I think their intent was when they gave us this 31st date was they were going to be further along in this process, but a lot of things are happening going on. Hochul's in office now. And so towns are getting caught in this pickle where, oh, we have to vote now. And we're like, yeah, well, you tell us what all the information is that we need to make a good decision or to inform our residents and make a good decision. It may be a month out, it may be 3 months out, but I'd like to have it.
Well, I mean, what regulation is missing right now that would change the decision of a dispensary? As the amount of cannabis that's sold? Is it the size of the store? I don't know what that would.
I don't know what I don't know, Luke, because I haven't seen it. I don't
But we
know
could,
what I'm looking
we
for
could
because
zone
it's
the
not
size of
there.
we could zone the size of the store. We could zone the parking lot. We could do quite a bit with that. We could make a special use permit. So as far as the decision about a dispensary, I mean, I'm willing. I don't know. If we're not voting on it tonight, let's continue to talk about it. What is the regulation that is missing that would affect the decision whether to opt out now or not?
We don't know, Luke, but I have to ask you, what is the big rush? Why can't we wait? It might only be 3 months, as Supervisor Box said, and we get this information. And, you know, I have, again, no doubt said at some point in time, we will opt in, but I don't understand what the big rush is. I don't believe that anybody who chooses to use marijuana is going to not be able to use it because we don't opt in. I don't believe that.
I agree with that point. The not opting out right now concern for me is the investor that would be considering a location in the South Towns. With a $500,000 investment, I don't know what the volume is that you need to have of a population to make your investment back. But I do know that if I was in Elma and anyone from Elma, put your earmuffs on, I would opt in and I would put one right off the 400, take all the money from the town of Aurora. And if West Seneca does that, if Orchard Park does that, we miss the train for forever. So it's not an issue of a great urgency. It's an issue of we want to send the message to investors to say this town, with the restrictions that we will have, will allow a dispensary, and we can talk about what those restrictions would be, but that it is a possibility. And so if you are looking for a location in the South Towns, the town of Aurora is a potential location, and then we could recover the 3% of sales.
Let me ask you this. So we don't have a zoning code for this right now. So between October, from now till December 31st, you think we can get all that in place?
I do. I think it would be as simple as right now we could look at the B2, B1 zones and say, it could be as simple as saying, okay, B2 zones can have it, or we'd actually have to put into the zones we don't want to have it, right? If we're considering it a retail establishment. So at present, we would consider this a retail establishment most likely. So where are retail establishments permitted right now under the current code in Bs and Is, right?
What about in the smoke shops?
Well, the smoke shop, I think we're not discussing. I'm just talking about the dispensary. Like I said, at last meeting, yeah, the lounge is an issue that, I mean, as a village resident personally as well, I think there's an issue here that do we want to have a dispensary in the village, or do we want to have the dispensary just outside the village? Is also something that we need to think about, even if the village were to opt in. Like I said last time, the concerns about a dispensary for me are minimal at most. the concerns about a lounge are real. And there are a lot of issues that our police force would be facing. And there are a lot of things that we would need to get in place before a lounge would be, that has been proven that lounges, yeah, you do make money, but there are a lot more negative effects. You're smoking at a place, you have to drive home. So the lounge is a separate issue. For me, a dispensary is a store. And I wouldn't want to miss that revenue for the town of Aurora.
Well, my concern is that we don't have it zoned down, and if we don't get it done by the end of the year, we're in. You don't have to opt in, you're automatically in. We
But it
can opt
is-
out and then opt back in, just as easy. We can amend this and opt in once we're done.
And as we all know here, we have a moratorium on the Bs and Is, which is where it's gonna go anyway, I assume. So regardless, in 3 months, we can address this again, whether we should opt in, and maybe at that time we have the zoning in place, perhaps.
Again, I
mean,
don't see a reason right now to opt out.
But
And
what
I-
will we
and I do
gain if
see a
we opted
reason-
in Right now, we don't have any of the zoning in place, and we won't have it in place until we're done with the moratorium and revising the Bs and the Is. You're still not going to be able to know where to put it until we propose whatever we come up with,
Well,
Bs and the Is.
right now it is permitted in any B or I zone unless we change it.
But that whole B and I would have to be completed.
Right.
Before the end of the year.
Well, before we receive
doesn't look like it's gonna happen.
an application for a dispensary, but preferably before the end of the year. I mean, a local law to amend the current B and I zones could be done at any time, where we would say no dispensary in Is or B1s or B2s, however we wanted to do it. So,
Can we do a local law during the moratorium?
I guess I struggle a little bit with the urgency of it. We're gonna go seed to table with cannabis. It's gonna be grown in New York. It's gonna be processed in New York. The whole thing is gonna be done here. So we're looking at the earliest of 2022. And again, with the regulatory committee or group, advisory group that's running this just in place, do I think waiting 3 months to get our ducks in a row before opting in is wise? I do. I don't see the rush. I'm with Chuck. It doesn't mean that on December 15th, we have the information, or January 1st. I mean, if they're gonna be licensing and getting things ready for 2022, that information will be to town and villages shortly. So waiting, to me, that period of time till we get that seems like a lower risk than opting in and finding a surprise on the other side of that.
like I said before, I just don't know what that surprise would be because we're talking about a store, right?
That's right.
I don't, we have B business zones, B2, B1, I zones. I mean, we're thinking about a dispensary here. Do we allow liquor stores in all of our B and I zones? I believe we do, right?
Yeah.
We do. So these are zones that we have said in the town, you can have a liquor store. I don't see the difference between that and a dispensary, other than a dispensary is going to be an investor that has to put in $500,000.
And you're probably right, Luke. That's probably is where they'll go. But again, with the moratorium on it, we aren't going to pass that until we pass what we pass. So I again, why not wait just the 3 months?
Because we are sending in the message to any potential investor that the town of Aurora is opting out, go somewhere else. And those decisions, I don't know if they're going to make. Do we really believe that we're going to opt out and then opt in on January 2nd? I don't think so. Things don't work quite that quickly in the government. So I see the right decision to make here, in my opinion. My opinion, the right decision to make here is to not opt out. And
I think everyone's pretty much, from what I understand on the board, is not against being in. They just want to be in properly. No, I'm not against opted in if we were set up to opt in. But to me, we're not ready. And everything I've heard, there isn't going to be a license for 18 months. Won't be able to get a license. So, I mean.
well, what do we need to do to get ready to do? Is it just zoning? Because we have a zoning project currently underway, right? If it's just zoning, we're going to get that in time, even if it is after the
That's
new
my
year.
concern. The other concerns from the board members are
Yeah.
what the rules are gonna be, what,
Yeah.
what we don't know.
Yeah, I hear that. I just don't share. I mean, I don't know what rules would be put into place that would be so detrimental that we would change our mind from permitting a dispensary to be in the town to saying, oh my God, we don't want that to be here. Is it the amount that's going to be sold? Is it the type of marijuana that's going to be sold?
Maybe.
Because,
I only go back to, I don't know what I don't know because I've been given no rules.
but again,
So I
that is,
think at this point, it probably makes just sense to vote. I'm not sure that we're really getting anywhere. I would err on the moratorium as long as we agree to move forward.
you mean the opting out?
Yes, or that's what I'm sorry, yeah, no.
And I do feel like Jim said that we're gonna eventually opt in. It's just that we're gonna do it with our eyes wide open.
Well, I would entertain a motion either way.
Well, there's no motion to make to stay in, so
Is that,
there's no motion to make to stay in. I motion to do nothing.
Well, we would adopt the local law.
I need a motion to adopt the local law for opting out for the cannabis.
I will make that motion.
Motion by Jolene. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion?
Nothing more than we haven't already said.
This is a roll call. The roll call vote.
Councilman Snyder.
Aye.
Councilwoman Freeze.
Aye.
Councilwoman Jaffe. Aye. Councilwoman Johnson.
Nay.
Aye. And just to go further, I'd be more than happy to work on this code and get it going so that, and if we get the information we need, we can we send and go back.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd say is that, you know my position. So if there's anything you need from me to get to where you need to be to opt in, let me know. I'd be happy to help.
Okay.
Well, that being said, don't we have to set another meeting for the zoning codes?
Yes.
B&I?
Yeah, I've said the last couple of meetings, we wanted to meet at 5, but we haven't done that. And I just talked to Jim about that today. I don't want to put words in Jim's mouth, but he said we want to get through the flag lots first before we get back to the B&I, which is a reasonable approach. So if we're almost done with the flag lots, we can then, I think we need a session. We can do it separately. We can do it before the meeting. We'll just go through what Chuck and I put together, even though we kind of probably forgot about it already, but
I think it's gotta be a separate meeting.
I do prefer to do it separate.
I think we rushed before the.
yeah. So whenever we want to do it, we can, you've got the text.
And I will say this also is subject to a 45-day permissive referendum. Okay, next.
Do you want to set it? What do you want to do?
Do we, I would set it, even if it's farther out, let's set a day so we've got it.
Okay.
So,
And we have to make sure we post it.
right. I know
Are we
you'll
looking
be,
at setting something right now?
some of us will be away, right? So, yeah, I mean, is there any harm setting it now or do you want to get through the flag lots first? Yeah.
And this.
Yeah. And the special event. Well, that's another one. Yeah, we should probably have a separate session for that. Although we went through that, wasn't it pretty much?
We're close,
Yeah.
we're close. Just a matter of finalizing what qualifies, and that's where we were a little stuck.
We also have the planning board looking at the special events.
They did. They reviewed the special event.
Yes. Yeah, we talked from the other day and wanted to get some input from them.
We usually do it on Wednesdays, right? Or is there no pattern there?
Does Tuesdays work? As well as Wednesday? For you guys or
Tuesday is
no?
fine with me. Tuesday is better than Wednesday.
Next Tuesday?
Is next Tuesday enough time to set the pub to announce? Yeah, that's fine with me.
Talking about Tuesday?
Should we, I'll send that to Joel maybe, our text. Are we okay with that, Chuck, if we send it over to Joel?
Sure.
6.
I'll be out of town, but. Pick the time.
Well, why don't we do it then after that, when you're back? Jim will be out.
When you come back.
Well, you can start it without me. I mean, I can also call it.
Yeah.
Let's have a
We
call.
got to.
I hate to do that to you when you're
Nope, I
away.
have
yeah.
no problem.
So the
Well, then I love to
19th
do it.
I can zoom in or just call.
19 at 6 o'clock, Zoom for.
Okay. October 19th at, did you say 6?
Yes. That's okay, just, then I'm not flying in late.
Is this something we're gonna try to talk about and then go to the planning board with their discussions, or we want them here? Their representatives?
We could have them here for, I think it's good to talk amongst ourselves first before. I did go to the planning board a couple of months ago and went over some of the goals that we had. So they're aware.
Martha, you will advertise it.
Recommendations from. By next.
Good idea. Okay, good with that.
Yeah, good to keep it moving.
We're gonna go right down to I, which is a budget amendment. This is from Kathleen Moffett, and this is a amend the budget with the costs associated with the emergency cleanup at Casanova Creek logjam. The actual cost was $22,222.01. We had actually budgeted, I believe, 25 for that.
Yep.
So I just wanted to say good job to Dave and his crew with the assistance of that program, and we ended up a little better than we anticipated. And any news on the other one?
There's a dumpster upstream from that same flood. We're trying to figure a way to get to it. We'll get it.
Okay.
So,
All right, do I have a motion to amend the budget?
So moved.
By Sue, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke, in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that is carried. Next, we have budget transfers. Do I need to read these, or are you guys good with as listed? This one is for.
As listed.
They are up on the screen
This
and
one's for the rec department, and it's a budget transfer. Do I have a motion to accept? As
So-
listed.
so moved.
Motion by Luke, second by Chuck. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, as carried. Next, we have a budget transfer from Kathleen Moffett. Do I have a motion to accept as listed?
So moved.
By Jolene, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that's carried. 6L is a budget transfers from David Gunner as listed. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jolene. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sue. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that's carried. And the final one was from Elizabeth Cassidy from the building department as listed. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Jolene. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's carried. Next, we have a resignation letter from Melanie Sealer. This is, she's resigning as of October 15, 2021. And she is the one of the current van drivers. Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Sue. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? As carried, and notice I did not add any items tonight. Communication and reports. We have the September 2021 Town Clerk, Recreation Dog Control, Work Requisitions, and the Supervisor Report. Next, we have business from the board members. I'll start with Councilman Snyder.
Nothing tonight. Jim.
Tonight, okay. Sue?
I attended the Erie County Sewer Board of Managers meeting last week. The good news is there's, money coming in for infrastructure, so that's gonna help some of the capital projects that the sewer folks need to get done. So the residents will be thankful for that money coming in.
Jolene?
Nothing.
Luke?
One thing, the talks with charter continue, but in a negative direction. We're talking about the one area that we know of where there is a hole, and Spectrum or Charter is not providing the possibility to receive internet services on Knox Road. Their previous estimate was $86,000 to bring the line over to that area. That does not include the $45,000 in addition that it would take to take it down the private road to get to all the houses. Spectrum is willing to put in $17,000 of that cost. And we have no word from the state. So.
Is that the only area in the town?
Well, they set up a data room where they show the information. There is I think on Lapham Road, but there's no houses on that corner. And I think it's pretty unbuildable where it is. Goes up from one direction and from the other. There's a spot over through Emery Park that I do not believe, but it's difficult to see based on what they have. I did go to houses out there a while ago, and everybody, to the last house said that they had internet, but I think the last house was kind of an elderly couple, so I don't know what internet they have. They were not able to say. So, but I think they should be covered. So this would be the last section that we're aware of. Now there are homes that are farther from the road that would need to pay for the connection, just like the private road. I kind of have an issue paying for one private road and not paying for everybody.
Well, I don't think you can pay for.
So.
That's illegal.
So that's an issue that they're going to have to deal with, but it just doesn't. They have to replace poles and things. And if anyone wants to talk to this Mark Meyerhofer, I'm sure he's more than willing to speak with anybody. But the cost, if we don't look at without the private road, is $86,000, $17,000 of which is anyone good at maths? Like they say in the other side of the pond. 86 minus 17 puts us at 69.
But the public portion of it is 45,000.
No, that would be the private.
Oh, so what portion is the public side?
So it's 86 minus 17 from Spectrum, 69,000. You would need to get the state to kick in for sure, and then whatever the federal funds we would be able to use. It is a very difficult situation.
What is the house count in that area?
I don't know what it is without the private road. And I'm we would have to go back and say, well, if the private road doesn't agree to do it, then Spectrum's costs may go up, or they may not want to kick in the 17,000 because they're limiting the number of houses that get it. So it's a very difficult situation. I don't know. The houses are in the teens with that private road, probably
Like
single
there's
digits.
5 houses on that private road.
Yeah.
So it's running from around the seminary down to them.
Yeah.
That it might be.
Yeah, they went through the polls and looked at what they'd have to replace, and they have to get all the nice egg and everybody. And
I bet you Dave could dig a hole for us.
Dave, personally, I think that would be maybe more expensive.
You
Yeah.
could get that cable in a lot cheaper underground.
Hey, Luke, is the seminary?
The seminary has it.
And they're still.
I believe, but I think it's a private line or something. I don't know.
$100,000.
86,000.
Something doesn't seem right there.
No,
The
and we
seminary
don't have a
has money.
signed contract. Maybe we can, maybe that, this is maybe the first offer, the 17,000 contribution. We can go back but we're not even close to where we need to be
But
here.
the seminary has it. Why couldn't they?
I believe the seminary has it. Yeah, it is, it's like the rates that are on average is $100,000 per mile. And they explain it because this and this and this, and it says.
Okay. Well, we'll have to discuss that further.
So we need to, I don't know what to do here. We need to maybe if someone can contact Senator Gallivan's office and see where we are with the state again, because Governor Hochul did appoint some people to a commission that did not have appointees. So maybe we can make some headway, and with the governor's home being not too far away, maybe we could also get a little extra love for Aurora. But it's going to take some work. So no good news, unfortunately, for our residents on Knox Road.
We did meet last Tuesday? The American Rescue Plan. We had a meeting here. We didn't have a lot of response from residents, but we do have a couple plans the town is looking at right now, and some exciting plans for the community pool park. Some upgrades to the park that I think everyone's going to like. As we get further along in that process, we'll definitely have some drawings and different things. Councilman Snyder spearheading that project. There'll be some upgrades to the community pool, upgrades to the ball diamonds and tennis courts and so forth. And in using the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan money, which encourages outside activity. So parks is a pretty good one of the items we're looking at. So we're looking at other things too, but that was last week, and we'll probably have more communication as we go forward with that. Next, we have audience, and this is an opportunity to address the board on any items at all. Please, if you like to come up to the mic and give us your name and address.
Tony Rosati, 350 Oakwood Avenue. I'd like to bring to your attention, I'm not sure how much discussion may have already happened, but as more and more houses get completed in Aurora Mills, we're seeing increased traffic both on Mill Road going to 20A, but also on Beach going out to Center and coming into the village. A couple of times, people have presented here that the Mill Road signage, for instance, for speed limits isn't consistent. The village has approached town DOT on different aspects, for instance, the traffic circle at Mill Road, and it's been turned down at this point. I think it would be helpful if the town and the village, maybe working through the safety committee, got together and tried to make some joint requests to the county and the state about trying to improve, whether it's stop signs or yield signs or speed limit changes. Some of this might be underway from the previous requests, but I wanted to kind of bubble it back up again.
I can tell you this, that I did meet with the county and the resident. I think you were gone when I met I can't think of her name from the county.
I can't either.
Okay. Anyways, real nice person. And we went over the signage and the speed limit and all that. And she's gonna go back and see what she can do as far as changing signage. And in the meantime, I had Shane run some speed reports there. And really, the speed reports came back that no, there wasn't a lot of speeding going on. He had it all detailed, and not that there isn't any going on, but there wasn't as much as you would think. But it is in process. We did get them involved as much as to show them that we are concerned. I think we do have a TE9 speed limit in process with the DOT on that.
Yeah, I know the process tends to take a long time. The Mill Road Circle and the Gray Avenue Circle at one point was taking like 18 months before we finally got an official response. So it pays to kind of push them a little bit. And I know Mayor Mercurio has also asked about stop signs and gotten a little frustrated about which side of the road they're on, for instance, with beach and whatnot. So I just wanted to make sure that both sides were talking to each other and maybe we can cooperate and increase the amount of visibility and pressure on some of the other entities.
And that's a good idea, Tony, that's for sure. But just to, in case you're not aware of it, all of those studies were done with the circle at the end of Mill, and all of that was done before we even started, the Aurora Mills project. And the DOT came back with a negative with all of that stuff.
So you got to wait until we've got the situation at 400 and
I'm
Olean
just
where
the
they're
messenger.
saying multiple
Just the
accidents,
messenger.
dead people, we don't want to
Chuck,
do
just
that.
to remind you, the town board did get the speed limit lowered on Beach down to 30. So we did do something. As far as the mayor talking about stop signs on Beach Road, I'm not aware of anything about Beach Road. What is it that you're talking about?
I think he was looking to have additional signage at the corner of Center and Beach. And that
Never
one
never
part of
heard
the south corner, I believe is currently part of the town rather than the village. So
The intersection of Beach and Center is completely in the town. It's not in the village.
okay.
I don't know what you want done. You'd have to let us know. It is a town-owned road, though.
Okay. Thanks, Tony. Again, just visibility, right?
Yeah.
We did look at 20A and Mill there when we put Reed Hill in. They wouldn't do anything.
No.
And yet they put one in East Concord. Not too long ago.
Anybody else like to address the board on any items whatsoever? Nobody? Okay, well then we will go down to staff reports. We'll start with Liz.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Nothing tonight. Donna. Okay. Dave?
Nothing, just 3 plow trucks are ready.
It was 80 degrees today. Don't be talking snow yet. Tony, anything else?
Not directly related to zoning, but keep in mind that in 10 days, early voting starts.
Okay.
Tony, is there the Halloween this year falls on the same day as the Dolphins game? Do we have any traffic plans for coming through the village on that day? I just noticed the Village of Warsaw actually is doing.
Signs that say the village 28 is closed, just like they do in Orchard Park.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have people walk.
Because it could be a bit of a safety concern, really. You can't see people out now at night. So I know that Village of Warsaw is doing their trick or treating on the 30th, which I'm not suggesting, but I don't know if there's any signs or something we could put up, but if we're gonna have that traffic coming from the Bills game, could be a bad situation. Not to say that's my commentary on Bills fans, but
Is there 1 o'clock game?
I think it is a 1 o'clock game, right? So you're gonna have people pouring out of there from 5 on. What's that?
It is a 1 o'clock game.
Yeah, but you still have traffic coming through, so.
When I think about the early voting, is it possible to access, how far would our Wi-Fi, in our building, it's pretty good Wi-Fi uses a hotspot. Would they use it for early voting?
I don't think you can, because are they still in the room over there, or are they gonna be over here?
You're over there.
Over there. So we could check, but I don't think it does. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Actually, let me check on my phone right here.
Donna, after the meeting, I just got to ask you a question. Paul, do you have anything?
Is wireless EA the village or you? Yeah, I'm not picking anything up. Nope.
Okay, motion to approve the abstract.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck, a second. Second by Sue. Any discussion? On favor?
I,
Aye, opposed, and it's carried. And a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jolie. Do I have a second? Second by Chuck. All in favor? Aye. Thank you for coming tonight.